Hello and welcome to the Football Manager 24 tutorial episode 4, and it's my favourite, it's the squad planner, so let's take a look. So if we navigate to the squad planner, and this is one of my favourite features I think of FM24. I'm not sure if it was in before, it's certainly not in this kind of detail it was, but the squad planner for me is one of the best things. I used to have to do this on a separate pen and paper or on an Excel spreadsheet, etc. But this enables you now to really look at what you want to do with your players moving forward. Now, you have to have your tactics done first. You need to have picked your formation. Helping evaluate your squad first kind of gives you a little bit of help as well. But there's a few things within this page, not just this tab here and the players on the right hand side, but also the experience matrix and the report we'll go through as well. But this for me, as a snapshot of what your squad looks like in terms of depth, is good because it gives you that right back, for example, 3.5 stars, looks pretty good, but it also enables you to do a bit of succession planning and kind of see who else you've got there, and it evolves as you bring players into your squad from your youth team, etc. This adjusts to accept that. But looking through it, you can see we've got two goalkeepers in there, Filip Stankovic and Nicola Ravaglia. Again, one's better than the other according to the rule and ability promise. I mean, that's backed up by the fact that he's on a considerable amount more wages. He's also a considerable higher value, so it's starting to build that picture really that Stankovic is probably better than Ravaglia. Now, you can do further things like that with Stankovic. You can go and do a comparison, compare with where is he? Ravaglia. There we go. You can do a comparison, and if you look at both of them, green probably does just about edge it. The graphics in terms of eccentricity and communication is in Ravaglia's favour, but all the rest of it pretty much sits within Stankovic's frame. And we'll go through player comparisons and things in a later video, but as a kind of building your overall picture for who you're going to select as your goalkeeper, we've done the squad evaluation, we've done the tactic and putting them in there. We're now looking at the squad planner, which gives you a bit more information in terms of who is the best player and succession planning, etc. But you can look and say, well, that's my first choice keeper, that's my second choice keeper. There's no youth prospects, they would be recommended down the bottom. But you can say, can we add a player from somewhere else? So the under 21 squad, best suited. There's a huge number of players in there. However, I would kind of not do that because none have been recommended. And what I would tend to do is look at them in the squad view page and then add them to the first team squad if I felt they were going to be of use to my first team squad. So that's where we are. Right back again, huge number of players. You can swap the order you want around these. I do this again on my youth intake challenge save. For example, Alex Ferrari, although he can play right back, I wouldn't have him on there. He's a natural centre back. He's never going to play right back for me. There's 4 better right backs in there. I would remove him, which leaves you 4 centre backs. Again, you've got 4. They're all in the right position. Yeah, left back. Again, I mean, this is looking like quite a well balanced and strong squad. Defensive midfielder. You've got a lot. What you might start to notice in midfield areas is that because we're not playing a natural centre mid like Kasami is, you'll find a gap. And whether we end up tweaking the formation to fit players like Kasami in there, because Ronaldo Vieira also likes to play slightly more advanced in a ball winner role, we could look with how that would affect the team, and we will do in a later video, because what you can see there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 midfielders prefer to play slightly further forward. So what we might do is move them defensive mids slightly further forward. It's going to affect the tactics, it's going to affect the pitch coverage, etc. But again, in terms of building that picture, the collaboration of the squad view, the tactic view, and now the squad planner is really enabling you to build that bigger picture. But that kind of gives you a rough outlay of where we are. I mean, right wing's looking a bit weak. I think it's probably because we've got an injury. But Gabriel Alessi is the strongest player we have in this position within the youth team. He's got a huge amount of potential. Again, you might not necessarily have seen him, but we bump him up there. He's a little bit way off in terms of current planning. He's more of a left-sided, so if you actually put him on the left-hand side, will he be a little bit more natural? Still only 1.5 stars, but again, he's got a huge potential threshold that he might be someone that we want to introduce in. He's on loan from AC Milan. We might be able to give him some game time, so we can add him to the squad planner. and just keep him in mind when we're moving forward and what we're doing. So again, looking pretty good in terms of a squad. Against Esposito, would we play him there? I think he's more of a natural striker. We've got him playing in the advanced midfield role. Maybe we need to go 2 strikers to fit in Esposito alongside Barini, which will give us 2 really good forward options in terms of goal scoring. So as you can see, we settled on an initial tactic. We're already starting to think about maybe going 2 strikers. And again, it's all fluid. You can move these around. So that's what we'll do as we move forward. What else it does is it lets you change it between your squad depth. So it tells you how many players you've got per position, which gives you a good snapshot of areas you might need to strengthen in. For example, left back and advanced midfielder aren't looking as strong as the others, goalkeeper as well. In terms of your role, it gives you an idea of what players you're playing in that specific role. If you're going to go into recruitment, you might say, well, I need a right winger, but you need to be an inside forward if you want to continue playing the same formation. So again, it's just building that picture as you move forward. What it then enables you to do is move on season by season and tell you which players are going to come into those positions or in them squads, or who's going to be missing, because you can see that certain players might well be available from the youth team, etc., or they might have returned from loan, like Emil Odero or Ivan Sau. But you might have also had players' contracts expired. So what you can see is next season we're going to go from having 4 centre-backs to 1. So if we go next season, 1, Alex Ferrari. So why is Ferrari the only player left? 2 players are on loan, they're going to disappear. And Bikini, if we don't extend his contract, it's going to expire. So that gives you a picture of next season. If we don't do something in terms of recruiting or retaining players we've got, we're going to be in a really bad place in terms of squad size. So it's just something in helping you plan as you move forward. If you take that on another year, again, it looks considerably worse. You're missing players all over the pitch, and it just helps you kind of succession plan. You can pull players from the youth team. So if you're planning on filling one of them defensive players from your youth team, you can add him from the under-21, under-20 squad, best suited. You could put Ercic and Geka in there, and that would kind of give you a bit of succession planning and what you're going to do. So that's the squad planning element in terms of your formation and the players you've got. Really useful for the current season, and it's also good for planning for future seasons. Now the experience matrix, this is again useful because it lets you work out who your experienced players are, which players have kind of reached their peak ability, aren't going to go much further, and which ones are emerging with high potential, able to kind of develop and grow further before they hit their peak. So again, a mixture of these is really useful. Again, if you look at the youth intake save I've had with Dulwich Hamlet, most of our players are in the development and emerging stage. We don't have many that have hit their peak or experienced, but I certainly think you need to have that balance. You can do that through positional view as well. So if you want to, you can just say, well, what have I got at centre half? Well, actually I need some development players coming in there, and that could be part of your recruitment strategy, is to say, oh, I've got emerging, I've got peak talents, I need someone in the development phase to continue that succession planning moving forward. So again, that's the experience matrix, really useful I think in terms of playing the game and keeping an eye on how your squad's going to grow and move forward. It's absolutely essential. Best 11, you can get your staff to give you a suggested best 11 of the players in every position. So in the opinion of our assistant manager, that's our best 11, and a reserve player for every single position as well. So again, Esposito is probably our best striker. We could put Very behind him, Pedrola on the right, Barini on the left, and it starts to look a bit more balanced. We can get Esposito in his natural position. He might well be our best striker. He's got a great first touch. So again, building that picture and sussing out where the best players to put certain positions are, especially when you've got players who can make multiple positions, is really useful. You can change that. You can change who you want to give you that opinion, and that opinion will differ depending on what you're doing. So youth development is changing out on the right hand side, for example. But again, that lets you do a best 11. Your assistance report, again, this gives you a comparison against the rest of the Serie B. So some of them aren't particularly useful. So your youngest player in comparison. So Palermo have the youngest player, Bari have the oldest player. The average age is 26, but we're at 25. So there's all that information in there, which you may find useful. It also gives a few strengths. So in terms of us, and the darker the green, the better. We're really good off the ball, really good at one-on-ones. Positioning's good, work rate's really good, which aligns to the high press, which is fantastic. There's a huge number of youth prospects. Great depth in defence. I mean, this is looking quite good in terms of your strengths. And in terms of weaknesses, of which there aren't as many, you can say, well, we're not the best in terms of finishing. So maybe if you're going to go recruiting, you want someone with really good finishing to kind of bring the average up, or get someone, we're not great at heading. The overall depth of the squad's not particularly great outside of the first team. There's all sorts of things you can pick up within there. Stats wise, we've not played any games yet, but this will give you a snapshot of who's had the most goal attempts, who's the worst, and this could help you pick out an off-form striker or an on-form player. General play discipline, you can pick out the players you might need to adapt their play style, make them stand off more, stay on their feet more, to try and get themselves away from getting sent off or yellow carded too much. And then finally, the comparison. This is again reasonably useful. It's a good comparison between your squad and the rest of the league, so you can look at all positions and say, well, actually we are the best at work rate and teamwork in the division, which again for the high press game is going to be really good, but we're not particularly great at strength, we're not particularly great in leadership, and our aggression's quite low. However, we're above average in decision making and first touch, so that's in the all position. Now you can move that further on, you can look at just goalkeepers to see where you are, just defence. So again, our defence in terms of position is fantastic, our midfield in terms of teamwork is fantastic, our off the ball for the strikers is great, so they're moving around really well. But in terms of physical, we're not anywhere near as physical as some of the other sides. Yes, we've got some good balance and agility, but pace, we're quite low. So maybe that's something that you can look to recruit for in the future, is getting a bit more pace into the side. Mentally, we're far better than everybody else in the league in a huge number of the mental statistics, so that might play to us controlling the play a little bit more, keeping the short passing and working the ball really well. So again, that leans into what formation we've played, etc. And then from a technical side, we're not bad, we're about average. We're quite weak in finishing, but we'd already seen that, so we've got the lowest finishing in the league, so goals might be a bit of a problem for us. But again, if you've got some element of recruitment that you can do, that's kind of leaning you towards those directions. So that is the squad planner. That's one of my favourite aspects of the game. I think it's brilliant. You might not use it at all, and again, you don't have to. You can just completely ignore the squad planner if you want. Never ever look at it, and you'll still get the same enjoyment from the game. It doesn't affect anything. It's just exactly what it says. It's a planner, and for people like me who like to know what's coming next, it enables me to think, well, I need some more youth players in there, I need some more high potential players in there, and I need a bit more experience perhaps. So that's it. Once again, thanks for watching. Hopefully you found it useful. Hopefully you'll start using the squad planner. Let me know in the comment section what you think of the squad planner. Do you think it's a good feature or a bad feature? Do you think it's maybe a little bit overrated, or do you think they could do something slightly better within it to make it a bit more advantageous for you? I struggle to think how you could make it too much better. Maybe a little bit more detail in number of years moving forward. I'm not sure. Maybe a way to include your under 18 or 21 squads in there, just to make sure that you've got a balanced under 18 and under 20 squad as well. But again, that's just me. If you want to take it to the nth degree. Once again, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon.